Woo! It's Halloween, one of my favorite holidays ever, especially because it's a completely Christian holiday. But despite being a Christian holiday, there's a lot of misconceptions about it, believing that it's this pagan festival that isn't actually historically accurate, and many Satanists even trying to spook people into thinking that it is. So is Halloween really a pagan holiday? Let's break it down. So the common protest is that Halloween borrows from Samhain or Samhain, a festival celebrated by Irish pagans over 2,000 years ago. But here's the thing, Samhain just means summer's end, which marked the seasons when farmers could finally take a break from working and turn up. But it wasn't a religious observance, and claims that it was a pagan religious observance come mostly from 19th century scholars interpreting Irish folklore, but there's actually no solid evidence it was anything more than a seasonal celebration. So then if that's the case, where did the Christian roots come from? So now this is where it gets cool. So Halloween, meaning All Hallows Eve, and the Hallows referring to the saints in heaven, is simply the day before All Saints' Day, the day where Christians celebrate and pray for our beloved saints who have died for the faith and are alive in heaven. Much like how in Hebrews chapter 11, we see the roll call for the faithful departed. And this practice of All Saints' Day goes back as early as the 4th century, as churches would choose days to celebrate the martyrs of the Christian faith. Now at first, these were on different dates based on the region. The Germanic churches chose November 1st, and the Roman Church chose May 13th. And the Celtic Church of Ireland, which is where the supposed pagan feast that is claimed to be the true origin of Halloween is said to have taken place, chose to celebrate All Saints' Day on April 20th, meaning their All Hallows Eve was on April 19th. You see the problem here? It wasn't until the 9th century when Pope Gregory IV made the date of the Germanic churches the official celebration of All Hallows for the entire church, as it made more sense to choose this time in alignment with autumn, and its themes of death and decay being pretty obvious from the land, making it a good reason for people to celebrate and have a good time, whilst also giving thanks to the dead and ultimately putting a positive twist on what should be a dark and depressing time of year. And Halloween costumes come from a Catholic artistic practice known as Danse Macabre, meaning Dance of Death, in which one would embrace death as an inevitability. And this would involve dressing up like the dead and living and dancing together, showing how death is swallowed up in victory, much like Christ promises us when we embrace him into our lives. And very much in alignment with All Saints' Day and All Hallows Eve, as we celebrate our faithful departed who are through the Catholic Church we know for certain have conquered death and are in heaven. And knocking at doors for treats actually comes from the 16th century practice of souling, which involved those who are poor going around the community knocking on doors and offering prayers for the departed in return for food in the form of soul cakes, which you can still find recipes for. Even Shakespeare mentioned this in Two Gentlemen of Verona with the words, like a beggar at Hallowmas. And this practice then morphed into guising, where kids would dress up and go around houses singing, telling jokes, or reciting poetry in return for treats. And now it's what we see today, with kids dressing up as Fortnite characters and nerds like me dressing up like Gohan or a Daring Crusader. So with Samhain not being what we actually thought it was, dressing up being rooted in the symbolism of life's victory over death, treat giving being linked to the practice of souling and soul cakes, Halloween itself being completely rooted in Christian tradition centered on the remembrance of our beloved saints in heaven, it's safe to say that we can enjoy Halloween. So my friends, God bless, stay safe, and have an amazing All Hallows Eve. Mwah.